There's only so long you can operate in low battery mode.
This therapy brought to you by... Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Kaitlyn.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we're going to 10th Century Scotland, published March 31st, 2024. We are so close. We are so close to being caught up. That is insane. But Fate Be Changed focuses on the often overlooked brave characters. This time, Merida doesn't take the spell cake back to her mother, deciding to eat it for herself. Needless to say, things don't go as expected. But can Merida mend the rift with her mother in time? Or will her actions affect far more than just her fate? Background, I loved Brave.
It's so good.
I've always thought it was super overlooked, super underrated. I remember back in 2012, before this came out, there was a promotional trailer kind of thing, like a teaser almost, that would play on Disney Channel, and every single time it came on, I would watch it. And I was so pumped for the movie, and I really, really liked it.
I think Brave was overshadowed by Frozen, wasn't it? Because Brave comes from the same animation era as the first Frozen, but unfortunately, Frozen had a better marketing team, let's be real.
More marketing, yeah.
It had more marketing, and Brave it got lost in the sauce, man. Because even though it's very similar to Frozen in that the main character doesn't need a love interest, doesn't get a love interest in the end, like Elsa, and they find their independence and they're rulers of their land and all that kind of stuff. It's just so underrated, but it's so good. I love the Scots.
Yeah. Frozen came out the next year in 2013, but I agree. I don't know if it was overshadowed by Frozen in that it didn't come out very close together, but you could tell the difference.
Yeah.
You could absolutely feel the difference in the marketing, in the funding, in all of it between the two, because Brave really did just go under the radar and Frozen took over the world.
Yeah, literally.
Let it go. Conquered.
Maybe that's why it was just the music. I mean, Brave has a great score and good music in it, but it does not have any sing-alongs, and that's how you get kids, is the sing-alongs.
Yeah, but I loved it anyway.
It's fantastic.
I was just checking to see what other movies came out in 2012. Wreck-It Ralph.
Also an underrated movie.
The original Avengers came out in 2012. Looks like The Amazing Spider-Man came out. Frankenweenie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God, what is this? Home Alone Holiday Heist. That obviously was not overshadowing anything, but I was just sharing some. Oh, my goodness. Beverly Hills Chihuahuas 3. Oh, do you remember Beverly Hills Chihuahuas?
I do remember the Beverly Hills Chihuahuas, man.
And the Tinkerbell movie where she goes to the Winterland and meets her twin or something. I don't know. I never actually watched it. But that was kind of what was going on.
So it was the beginning of the Avengers era.
Yeah, but anyway. So I love it. I think it's really overlooked. So I was very excited for this, which is maybe my problem.
That's always the problem with these books.
That's always I had high hopes because I was excited, but also not at the same time. I was just like, Brave is getting attention. It's like when they finally revealed that there would be a character actor of Merida at Disneyland. I was like, yes, we made it.
Yes, go Brave.
But that being said,
you can always tell how we feel about the book based on our attitude at this beat, and it's kind of deflated.
I'm confused is the most positive feeling I think I have for this.
Yeah.
This is a really high Goodreads score, and I'm just...
Really?
Baffled. Yeah, 4.17.
We need an actual young adult. We need an actual person who's the target audience to tell us how they feel about these books, because I feel like they do not meet our expectations, but for a target audience person, it might actually be great.
Honey, the Goodreads scores aren't coming from teenagers, they're coming from adult women.
True.
43% is a 4-star, 38% is a 5-star, and 16% is a 3-star.
My gosh. Wow.
Don't understand. I don't understand. I need to understand your background, people who are reviewing this and saying that her writing is amazing because she perfectly captured the characters. We'll get to that.
Well, I maybe don't disagree with that. Yeah.
We will get to it.
Okay.
But your background's kind of the same. You think it's underrated?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's such a great film and it's so underrated. Recently, behind the scenes from it has been coming up on my feed lately. And one of the actors who did the voice work, Sean something, he's in Grey's Anatomy and he plays an American, regular American English accent on Grey's Anatomy. And then you hear this man actually talk. And it's wild to think about how he's masking such a strong Scottish accent.
Yeah.
And he was on camera talking about, if you remember, the big stocky son.
Yeah.
Who every time he talks, it sounds like he's speaking gibberish. So apparently, no, it's not Sean. Is it Kevin McKidd? That's what it is. It's Kevin McKidd. He was talking about how in the script, whenever that boy was supposed to be speaking, they literally just speak gibberish because Kevin McKidd voiced multiple characters. And it's like, just speak gibberish. You don't have to make anything intelligible. And he was like, there's actually, they use the word in the book, there's actually a dialect that is so heavy that no one's going to know what I'm saying. And he took a shot at it and they're like, sounds like gibberish to us. Go with it. Do whatever you want. But it's actually a real Scottish dialect.
Yeah, and that's what I love about that it's not gibberish, because the more times I watch the film, the more I'm able to pick up on words he's saying. And I kind of love that.
Yeah, you have to be exposed to the Scottish dialect to really understand it.
I think that's way stronger than if they just did gibberish.
So it's so underrated. It's really good. This, more than any of them, I was crazy. I was like, I've got to watch this film. It's so good.
Yeah. It's like with Frozen, they're like, we had to come up with a new technology for ice. For this one, they were like, we had to come up with a new technology for Merida's hair.
Yes, to animate her hair.
Yeah, because it was so much. It was a character in and of itself. But age level for this is a YA book, as usual, for this series. And content warning, this is book 2 of this series, Frozen being the first one, where you could absolutely give this to a 5th grader and you're fine.
Yeah, very chill.
There is nothing twisted about this.
Nope.
There's nothing Liz Braswell about this.
Yeah, there's nothing Liz Braswell about this. It is not twisted in the fact that it's grotesque. It is not.
And there's also no Mari Mancusi looking at you, ma'am, with the romance.
That's true, too.
Very, very PG romance as well.
Yes.
Because the content warning is, so there's a lot of bigotry because the clans and, oh my goodness, you're from that clan? What? I hate you. And so other than that, though, we kind of have a PG-13 language because they say a very common, say the D word once. And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of edgy for Disney. But then, like I said, they only said it once. It honestly feels silly warning about it. And then I cannot honestly remember. They get injured several times, but was there even blood?
And I do think when she hit her head, she mentions that she pulls away and her fingers have blood on them or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe the only time they mention it. Oh, and at the end when Fergus gets his arm shot, remember they have to wrap his arm up because it's bleeding.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's almost telling you about the blood and not showing you the blood, but I mean, I guess it's there. Honestly, I was pretty drawing short on any content warnings because that's literally it. You could give this to a 5th grader and not worry.
No.
Which is so crazy considering where we started.
Refreshing, too.
With magic rug torture scenes and so many dark, twisted, the covers are supposed to be ominous. Although this one's not very ominous. We'll get to it in a bit. But that's so crazy to me that this is so chill.
Yeah, it was.
But to move along to that, judge a book by its cover, it's brave. I never know what to say.
Yep.
I didn't think the cover is really pretty.
Yeah, the colors of it are gorgeous.
And just looking at it, though, you can kind of tell that it's not going to be that twisted. I did that recently. I looked at the very beginning of the series, and you look at the covers and how ominous they are and how kind of almost scary they are. And then you look at this when you're just pretty color. There's browns and greens, and there's Merida.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really hints at anything ominous. Even her being in shadow isn't particularly scary.
Well, because they're all like that.
Yeah, but for some reason this one, because when they first did that with Jafar and Maleficent and the Beast, it was spooky, but not this.
Yeah, there's nothing, like you said, ominous about it like it is with the villains.
No, it's just she's facing the opposite direction of the sun, and their face is in shadow. Honestly, that's how it is versus the spooky scaries.
Yeah.
So that should have been a hint. Like I said, I thought the cover is very pretty. It reminds me of Cinderella, which is also not that ominous. Another gorgeous cover. But we really like Cinderella. Elizabeth Lim is good in action and good in romance. I stand by her.
Yeah, that's still one of the best ones we've read so far.
And I'm just, to get into it, I am thoroughly baffled. Why did Disney pick Farrah for this book? Is she just on the next rotation? Because when we read, for example, Mari Mancusi's Twisted Tale for Nightmare Before Christmas, we're like, oh, she got the thing. I wonder why she got the thing. And you get to the back of the book where it's about the author, and it's like, Mari Mancusi.
She was obsessed
with this book. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense why she's writing this book. Aladdin, Liz Braswell. She has a degree in, what is it, Egyptology?
I think so, yeah.
But she had a degree that made sense that she would write about that. And then she went on to write the other books because she was the only author at the time. But yeah, she graduated from Brown University with a degree in Egyptology. So it makes sense. And then there are some ones where you pick someone from the culture, like Elizabeth Lim was first brought on with Mulan, and she does a fabulous job. Farrah was brought on for Princess and the Frog, which makes a lot of sense because she grew up in Louisiana and around people of that faith or that magic, and so it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense that you particularly, out of all the people in the world, were picked for this. And I'm just so confused. I got to the end of the book and she'd done her history about Scotland. I'm Scottish, grew up going to the Scottish Games. It's a very, very big deal in my family. And so I thought she did that pretty well, the blending of reality with fiction. But I got to the end of the book and I was like, well, maybe the about the author will explain it. And it doesn't. It's just the same one. Farrah has written 30 plus romance books and is a New York Times bestseller. And she was brought on for both Almost There and the Twisted Tale anthology. And now she wrote this one.
Yep, this one felt like an obligation.
I was also confused why Elizabeth got picked for Cinderella, but I feel like you could feel the love of that movie through her writing. And that is not how I felt about this one. I don't know. Let me get this out of the way. Merida is the worst character in this book.
Yeah, honestly, if we could just get Merida out, I think she could have written a really good book about Fergus and Eleanor. That's all I wanted was Fergus and Eleanor the whole time.
This book is at its strongest when, shock and surprise, the romance author got to write romance.
Yep.
And that's where I'm stuck.
Because Merida is a very anti-romance story.
It's all about how marriage is a lifelong commitment. It's literally first wave feminism. It's about basic legal rights, and this book does go into that a little bit more with Eleanor, where she's like, I literally am a piece of property, and I have no legal rights to my own hand or anything, and the same thing with Merida. So very first wave feminism. I'm just so baffled why they pick the romance writer and then she writes Almost There with no romance. And then she gets given Merida, who is not about romance.
Yeah.
She's able to twist the plot in the way so there can be romance between Eleanor and Fergus. But that's like 3 chapters at most out of 47 chapters.
Of the entire thing. I agree.
And I'm just so confused because when it comes to that, she is good. She has romantic tension. She gets it. She understands romance isn't just, oh, the flowery words and gestures. It's about connection. It's about interest. It's about so much more than just the flowery words and stuff. And she gets it from the beginning with these two. She absolutely does. I enjoyed it so thoroughly when they're getting to know each other.
Yes.
The problem is that chapter's from Merida's perspective, and she won't shut up the the entire time, where it's really obvious they have an attraction for each other. But in the enemies to lovers way, not even enemies to lovers, like, let's be honest, annoyance to lovers, the very prickly opposites attract.
Yes, but there was attraction from the very first moment they met.
Oh yeah, and he's very open about it, likes teasing her about it, and she's very, I don't have feelings for you. You're a dirty hobo. I don't remember what she calls him, but it was basically that. Over time, she sees his softer side and not just his arrogance. And once again, she does a really good job. It's like, it's not just about attraction. They also have very similar political beliefs. I'm going to tie that in with religious beliefs because the church is involved in the state here. So the big things, political belief, religious beliefs, it's kind of assumed that they both want kids. So it's not only do we have an attraction, we have infatuation, and eventually that can bloom into love because they do have this structure of we agree with each other. These are what we want to do with our life. We agree on the very major things. So good. But we have to have Merida interject after every other line to be like, oh no, they don't like each other. Oh no, this is going horribly. Why are they being like this? They're meant for each other. Why are they acting like this?
Yeah.
Merida, how do you write a main character that's a third wheel in her own story? I love Eleanor. I wish we could cut out all of Merida's chapters and just give it to Eleanor. That would be so good. The thing is, let's talk about the people saying that she got the characters perfectly. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
I just think the author captured the worst parts of Merida's personality.
Well, and the problem was at the beginning, it wasn't clear that that's what she was trying to do. But by the end, and again, it's show, don't tell. By the end, when she was talking to her mom, she's like, you've helped me realize how selfish I was by just thinking of myself and blah, 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 and not realizing what my duty to the kingdom was. Because that's how she presented through the whole book, is just completely selfish. But there wasn't this understanding that that was the lesson she was trying to learn, I guess. And then also, it feels like it cheapens the book or cheapens the movie too.
Yeah. The bonding is so good. My thing with it is, it's not about the selfishness. Whatever, yeah, Merida is selfish. Merida is insanely impulsive. She is horrible with a plan, which I think is more the problem than her selfishness. The entire book, that's all she is she's impulsive. And the crap the author lets her get away with. This girl sneaks away from the castle, from her duties, constantly. She becomes a maid.
Yeah.
Which I have so many thoughts about that as well. She becomes a maid and can just not go to work.
Yep.
Randomly at all times, so she can ride her fancy horse around the village, so she can go into the forest and into the town and whatever. Okay, but let's get into the plot. But yeah, that's how I feel about Merida. I wish we could have just had Eleanor. I think those chapters are way stronger. The humanization is way better, where Merida is just, woo, I'm here.
Yep.
You led me by example, and now I am forever changed. But also, can we talk about the very cheap cliffhangers in this book?
Oh my gosh.
Eleanor turned around, and Merida was gone. Turn the page. Merida is peeing by a tree and walks back. Eleanor turned around and she screamed. Turn the page. Oh my goodness, Merida, you startled me. Why?
Yeah, walks into a room and screams. It's just a boar.
Oh yeah, it's a mounted boar's head, which is canon in her own house. There are stuffed bears.
Yeah.
Real life big bears, but she's gonna get scared by a boar head?
Yeah.
Okay. There was also one with Fergus. I don't remember what that one was, but they're so cheap. And that also makes me want to be like, this is a mid-lit book.
Yeah.
Because by the time you're a YA, you've seen it. That's cheap. What are you doing? Why do you even need to do it? What is the purpose of these cliffhangers if they're going to be that stupid?
Well, and I even put it in the notes. The only genuinely good cliffhanger was when the chapter where she first discovers Eileen and Locken, or however you said his name, because everything after that, she's too dense. But when she sees them walking away, I'm pretty sure a chapter ends right there. And we're like, oh, they're poisoning the king. We put the dots together immediately. You even put but like, they're poisoning the king. That was the one moment I was like, ooh, dang. Because the chapter ended there and then picked up. That was the only genuinely good cliffhanger.
And we're rewarded with that by Merida gaslighting herself for the rest of the book, and then deciding this is another cheap chapter, and the king has been getting into these weird accidents that almost kill him, and Merida's like, I don't think they're accidents. Turn the page. Merida decides not to tell Eleanor what's going on.
Yep.
Excuse me where I slap my forehand. Oh, I'm sorry, forehead. Sorry, that typo really gets me.
That was hilarious.
I had to send it to you because you have the audiobook and they were going to correct it.
Yep, they did.
But there's a part where it says Merida slapped her forehand, and I literally looked it up. I was like, I'm questioning all of my sense of anatomy here. Do we have a forehand? We don't.
No, the back of your hand is not your forehand.
It is exclusively a tennis thing, which it's a little bit funny because sometimes there's typos and you're like, oh, you missed a letter or whatever. But that one's just kind of funny because it's actually a word, but definitely not the right word, which sucks for an author, but I get to laugh about it.
Yeah.
So, Merida, I don't understand the very, very beginning of the book. Let's go very, very beginning of the book.
Yep.
I don't understand why the author felt the need to summarize as much as she did, considering she cut so many corners with the scenes.
What do you mean?
So in the very, very beginning, it is the prologue is her family having a nice meal.
The prologue is so they can establish how her parents met.
Yes. 3 months later, cuts to when Merida just shot for her own hand. She comes back to the castle. Her and her mom have the fight. She rides out into the forest. She sees a will-o'-the-wisp. She goes to the witch's house. She gets the spell, and she gets back on English and is going back to the castle. All of that happened in the movie. It's basically verbatim. But instead of saying every line or everything, she summarized chunks of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just a little confused why she felt the need to start that far back and not just put her in the forest traveling on Angus to go see the witch.
Poor Angus, too. I made a comment about that.
Oh, poor Angus. I am so confused about time travel because of Angus. She gets the cake. She's going back. She decides, I'm going to eat the cake. And it ends up teleporting her back to when Eleanor was 19.
Yeah.
And she was going to be betrothed to be married, which begs the question here. Eleanor wasn't deemed ready to marry until she was 19. Why is Merida being betrothed at 16?
Yeah, that's fair.
Eleanor!
You changed some perspectives, but you made others worse.
Yeah, and even then, I was very confused.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they didn't just make Eleanor her age, so they could have that to bond over, like when I was your age or whatever, because being 16 and being 19 are two very different things.
Yeah.
Granted, they are both in very similar situations in this point in time, but still mentally being 16 versus mentally being 19. Gets traveled back in time. Angus is there?
Yep, he came with her.
He gets teleported back in time? And how? How does that work? You ate the cake. And I was like, well, they were in the circle, so maybe he got transported back with her. But then you get to the end of the book, and she teleports forward in time again, so she's back in her time, and Angus isn't mentioned?
No, yeah. I think she rides him back from Freya's place, and then he's never mentioned again. But, I mean, there's no reason to believe he doesn't travel back to the present with her, because she passes out in the castle.
But there's also nothing that says he did, either, so...
100% true.
Part of me is like, and Angus stays in the past.
Poor Angus.
It really does show how much of a plot device he is. He's just there so she could ride around.
Yep, and be a mild teaching tool.
Versus being an actual character.
Yeah.
This is your very, very, very paint by numbers. I hate my mom. I went back in time. Oh my gosh, we have so much in common. And now I see her viewpoint differently.
Yeah.
And I go back to the present and we're a better people for it. I've read 2 other books with that very similar plot.
Oh, really?
This year alone.
Yeah.
There's this book called Throwback.
Okay.
Which I thought, if you want this vibe, Throwback is very, very good. Modern day teenager goes back in time to, I think, the 90s.
Oh boy.
Where her mom was the homecoming queen, and her mom was a first generation Asian American, so she has all of that. And so it really dives down into, why is my mother like this? And you see how there's a lot of pressure on her because she's Asian, but she can't point that out too much, or the white people will be like, oh my gosh, you're race baiting or something, or you're not cool or something. And so seeing how her mom kind of shuns her own culture to be accepted, and how tough she had it. And it's really, really, really well done. So I read that. That was a 4-star for me. And then there was another one. I'm trying to remember the title off my top of my head, and I don't think I can. But this is a very, 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 very popular trope. And so I do wonder if I liked that trope more, because I do think it's a little cliched at this point. I almost include Freaky Friday into it, where, oh my goodness, this crazy event happened, and now I see things very differently.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's the point of the movie, right?
Yes.
The movie is using the same trope. It's just executed differently.
Yeah. The fact that she turns into a freaking bear, I don't know. It makes it less cliche. Oh my goodness, we've done this thing together and now we are bonded and see things differently, which I'm not necessarily against. I think that's kind of strong, because it is, especially I think it's important for teenage literature to have that kind of trope, to be like, hey, don't just be in your little bubble because you're a teenager. Have empathy. Think about other situations. People aren't annoying you because they want to be annoying. It's usually, if a parent's like, this is for your own good, it ties into their own issues and their own trauma that they went through. And I do like how this book points out Merida thinks her mom was bad, and then she learns that her mom's mom was worse, to which you find out from Eleanor that Eleanor's grandmother was even worse than that. And you kind of see how the generational trauma is slowing down.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of getting passed along.
Yeah, everyone is doing better than the person before them, but it's still hard.
Yes, it's still rough. And so Merida gets to appreciate that, which is also very true to life. And I don't know, it's just so cliched. And here's my other thing. Maybe if the story writing itself were better, I wouldn't have as many complaints. Obviously, like Throwback, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the people that are like, the writing is so good. I literally at one point put the comment, is there an outline or are we pantsing?
Yeah, I didn't quite know what you meant.
Because that's what it feels like this entire book.
What did you mean by that?
So there are 2 theories. Well, there's multiple theories. But this comes especially from the NaNoWriMo crowd writing group. There are planners for this event. NaNoWriMo is now a defunct charity where it was a National Novel Writing Month, where in the month of November, you would strive to write 50,000 words.
Yes, I remember you participating in this at one point.
Yeah, 50,000 words, which is about the length of your average novel. And so there were people called planners, which means before the month of November, they sat down, they wrote outlines of the plot, they maybe wrote a couple scenes, they had their characters picked out, they had some world building already done, but they go into the book knowing what they want to write. And then you have pantsers, which are people that fly by the seat of their pants.
I see.
No outline, barely a concept of characters, nothing written down. They literally just sit down and write words and see where the story goes. This can be controversial because, as people point out, you need a little bit of structure to know what the heck's going on. But if you're going to do that for a first draft, I don't see a problem with it if you do it well. And so that's why I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, from chapter to chapter, it almost didn't feel connected at times. We're going to sneak out of the castle, and we're going to do a thing. Turn the page. Merida was in the scullery. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And a page later, oh, it didn't work out, so we didn't do the thing. thing, and now we're doing another thing.
Yeah, no, I do get that.
It didn't seem to decide on what the plot was. Is the main plot her parents falling in love? Is the main plot there's a threat to the kingdom? Is the main plot Meredith's turning into a bear?
Yeah, we definitely went multiple different places.
And it just didn't seem to know how it wanted to split its time. Is the plot that Eleanor is trying to run away? That she's trying to get these survival skills? What is the plot? What is the climax of this book? Because I would almost argue it doesn't have a climax. It seems that the climax is supposed to be they go to the Highland Games and someone's trying to murder the king, and I want to curse so badly. Lachlan's an idiot.
Yes. And the 3 chapters we have him in, he's just such an idiot.
He's so stupid. He has this plot to murder the king, and he decides to shoot an arrow at him.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Highland Games.
Yep.
Fergus takes the arrow. And I feel like that's supposed to be the climax, but then it's all just resolved off screen. Meredith's like, these people are involved, and so they get rounded up and taken care of. What is the motivation for the servants to help? Why does Eileen hate Eleanor? Why did any of this happen? Why are people discontented with the king? No, none of that. You don't get any of that. You're just told that, oh, the traitors were rounded up, and, well, gosh darn, the chieftain wasn't in on it. It was just Lachlan acting by himself. Somehow Lachlan, who doesn't live in this castle, convinced Elaine, who is a high-up servant, and her brother Gregory.
Yeah, for an assassination plot.
For an assassination plot against the king.
Yep.
Why? How? What are they going to do with them?
Honestly, just pick a lane. Pick a story. You could have gone so many different directions. You didn't need to keep upping the stakes. Back to the Future it. The stakes of you just getting them back together and dealing with the forces that want to keep them apart of simply alone that she's already betrothed. I thought that was a great emotional moment.
Yes.
Finding out that her mom was already married, and they explained, like, no, the Highland Games isn't for her hand. That's where they announced who she's been betrothed to since she was a baby. I thought that was a great emotional moment. You didn't need any more stakes than that.
Because that really plays into the empathy of Merida thinking, oh, my mother had it exactly how I had it because that's the only lived experience I have. So I assume everyone had that lived experience, and having that really big maturing moment of, oh my gosh, other people have different lived experiences. Just because I went through something, just because something was hard for me, doesn't mean someone else didn't have it worse or different or whatever. And that's a really, really, really big moment for teenagers, is to have that aha moment. And I don't know, it was so muddled and confused because, oh, Merida's a maid now, and oh, they keep saying, you're not allowed to be together, but literally Merida just walks up to her constantly.
Yeah.
No one cares. And Merida is assigned kitchen duty. She's in the larder, the wet, the dry, and the scullery, but she can sneak out on her horse and travel all the way to a village to talk to someone, and then return and no one's gonna say anything?
Yeah.
And she can leave at any time and on her horse, which she's supposed to not be associated with because it's so fancy. And oh no, she has to wear a shawl because her hair's red. And the only Scottish person with red hair is the Dumbrocks.
Yep. It's a lot.
And like you said, you might have said it before we started recording, they're just so disjointed because there will be 3 chapters on one scene. And then the next chapter just cuts. Something completely random. And then, like I said, the next page justifies why it made that cut.
Yep.
And it's so weird and disjointed. It doesn't know what the plot wants to be. Merida is annoying as crap. And nothing pays off.
Nothing.
There are so many Chekhov's guns in this book that don't go off.
Yeah, one thing I kept coming back to was obviously Eileen's important. But do you have any idea how many times they mention her striking blue eyes? I thought she was going to be related to someone. I thought she was going to have some other purpose other than, no, she's just the insider, right? She's the plant in there that's been poisoning the king.
Nope. Did you think that was going to be interesting? Heaven forbid.
Yeah, right?
Did you think the fact that Merida keeps bringing up the fact that she's not able to control her temper anymore was going to go somewhere? No, she controls her anger at all times. It's just getting so hard. Merida can't control her temper when she's a human. What do you mean she's able to control the bear temper? What? What is happening? Why are you lying to me?
Yeah, why are you gaslighting me? I'm tired of that.
Why are you gaslighting Merida? She keeps overhearing the most suspicious crap. Literally, basically, we're gonna murder the king, but we can't do it right now. We gotta wait for other people to get there. And Merida goes, I bet Eileen and Lachlan are dating.
Yeah.
What?
And you're like, Merida, come on, please, please.
And then the king almost has an accident. She's like, oh my gosh, treachery. We both got it when the king suddenly retired because he was feeling ill because they made a big deal about how Eileen's the only one who makes the dessert. And so we clicked. We were like, there.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
And granted, not everyone picks up on the same thing. Sometimes the author has to be very, very overt about something so everyone's on the same page. I am a mystery lover. My husband points out it's really hard to watch movies with me because I guess things. I'm very high percentage on twists, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's not always a bad thing. And I recognize just because I can guess a twist before it happens doesn't mean that's not what needs to happen for the story. Sometimes I guess it because that is the correct thing to do. So maybe we guess it early. You know, she's picking up these sticks or whatever. But it is painful how long it takes Merida to even think that there's something afoot. And then once she has decided, yeah, something sus is up, she gaslights herself.
Yeah, because how despicable would it be if I actually made this accusation? It could ruin their lives. Yeah, man, I'm trying to kill somebody. Tell someone, please.
Yeah, she won't even tell Eleanor. And that is really what gets me in this. Why?
So she gaslights herself. She refuses to tell Eleanor, even though she's like, oh my goodness, there's no accident. And they already think there's an issue. This is what I mean by I'm confused. Eleanor pushes. And eventually Merida does say, hey, I saw Eileen and Lachlan talking together. It seems suspicious. I think they're conspiring. And that's it. That's all she's going to tell her.
Yeah.
That's literally all she's going to tell her. And so Eleanor's like, that's not strong enough reason. And it's pulling teeth for Merida to be like, oh, well, the riddle that Fergus found and why his clan is secretly hiding in the forest because they believe something suspicious is going down. It isn't about Mor'du, which I'm very confused why they thought it was. Because the poem's about when the sun gets as high as the fairies like, anyone who is under the roaring lion's rule will perish. I think I did that right.
Yeah, it very particularly mentions the lion.
Yeah, the roaring lion. And oh my gosh, Merida realizes that's on the McCameron's coat of arms.
Is a lion.
Is a roaring lion. Why did Merida figure that out, first of all?
Yeah.
I know what's on my coat of arms. I can quote you our phrase. I'm McTavish, by the way.
Oh.
I know our symbol has a boar's head. I know it looks like a belt loop around it. Non-oblitus. I know. Why
Would she not have picked up on that? The person from the clan. Yeah.
would Eleanor not pick up on that? I have so many questions on that, but pieces together, roaring lion, it must be the king. And then Eleanor points out, it goes into a little bit of denial there. No, it's totally Mor'du. Is there a diviner here that's protecting this bear? Which also doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Mentioned constantly, does not come up. The Vikings in the beginning of the book.
Yes. Never.
The Vikings never come up. She has this entire scene with Freya where she realizes, oh my gosh, the Vikings attack right after my mother and father get together. And if they don't get together, maybe the people don't get together. If they don't get engaged, the people don't rally around Fergus and they're not able to save themselves from the Vikings.
Yep.
Immediately dropped after that realization.
Never brought up again.
Never brought up again.
And you keep thinking they're going to. At some point, they're hinting at the fact the Vikings are invading, and it's just not that. They had to bring up the Vikings to make the realization that the grandfather died, and then now all of a sudden the plot is about the grandfather dying. Pick a plot!
Pick a plot. But at this point, Merida decides not to tell her mother about a second conversation she heard between Eileen, her brother Gregory, and this dude that's been spying on Eleanor for Lachlan. She's just like, no, that has the least proof that something suspicious is happening, even though they specifically said we have a plan, we must enact the plan, and Elaine goes, no, we must wait for the other ones to get there. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Oh, and by the way, this man has been following Eleanor. Merida's just not going to say that. She's just going to let Eleanor believe her dad has been having her followed.
Yep.
Because, that has the least amount of proof. Why would she ever believe that? Pulling teeth to get that out. Are you serious? Why? Ugh.
Yep. Again, this book just had so much potential, and it just didn't.
Eleanor has escaped, so her and Merida, right before sunrise, can ride out of the castle and go to the town so they can be nuns.
What even was that?
Merida is scrubbing plates in the scullery. 3 paragraphs later, it's a good thing one of Fergus's men cut them off, and nothing. It doesn't say anything. It just says that he cut them off.
Yeah.
And now they're back at the castle, and Merida's glad.
So I was so confused because I definitely dozed off while trying to finish this book last night. And I remember reading through your notes as a prep, what am I going to see? And I remember seeing the word nuns, and I was like, okay. And then again, I knew I was getting sleepy, so I set the Audible timer because you can set a sleep timer for it to turn off. So I was like, 15 minutes. I know I'm not even going to last 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer at 15 minutes, and I wake up and I don't remember anything about the nuns. And that's what I was saying before we started recording. There were so many portions where I was like, did I just miss a whole lot of plot, or did she just swap that abruptly? And it's exactly that. We're going to do this thing. We're going to go be nuns. 12 sentences later. Really glad that didn't happen. Excuse me?
How did it not happen? Oh, Fergus's man.
Yeah.
What? And that is the level of quality we get for everything in this book. I am still so freaking bitter that we set up that Eileen, who used to be friends with Eleanor, has decided to murder the king and hates Eleanor.
Yep.
Is it because she doesn't think she deserves her title? Is it because Eleanor has done something? Is it because the king has done something? Your guess is as good as mine. It's doing the same thing that Nightmare Before Christmas did, where Sally talks and says, this guy's evil, and everyone immediately believes her, and it's solved off screen. We don't even get the fun of enough bad things have happened right now. Enough judgment has gone around. No more judgment. Anyway, you are banished. We don't even get that. It literally just says they were rounded up.
Yep.
And that his father knew nothing of the plan. And everyone just agreed to be part of the Dunbrock kingdom because Fergus saved the king from being hit with an arrow, being killed with an arrow. He saved our king from no longer being our king. Okay, let's all agree that he's no longer our king.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just...
And Freya is so stupid to have as a character. Freya is the name of the witch.
Yes.
And she is apparently much younger during this time period. Can we talk about, where is it? Merida asked what the heck happened. Because the question of the book, which is inaccurate, is what if the witch gave a different spell?
Now, I will say she did change it because it was a different spell. If you remember when they're describing what happens and they're talking about the spell, that's where the plot starts deviating.
Well, it did seem like she was like, I could do this, but I decided to do this.
Yeah.
But then Merida ends up starting to turn into a bear anyway.
But it was a slow transformation. Her mom's transformation was immediate. And I think they explained the reason she time traveled was because she took the spell that wasn't heard. So it was like a consequence. But
well, here's the thing. If we're going with it was a different spell, and I'm pissed about this, Merida goes to the witch, and at one point they're talking about it. And Merida goes, what would have happened if I did give my mom this cake? I wasn't supposed to eat this. What would have happened to my mom? And the witch just goes, we can't go back now.
Yeah.
And that is it. And Merida accepts that. Merida, the strong-headed, impulsive, doesn't listen to anyone if it doesn't satisfy her.
Yep.
Oh yeah, totally. We don't go back. My thing is, why couldn't you have had the answer be, I don't know. I haven't cast it yet.
Yep.
I don't know what I was thinking in the future. That makes perfect sense to me. And then later in the book, she goes back and thanks Freya when she gets back to her time. And then you could have asked the question then, but it felt so cheap to be like, oh, I just time traveled back into the past. Who knows why it happened? And then we can't go back. I can't explain anything to you because we can't go back.
Yep.
What? See, this is what I mean. Like, that feels like a pantser answer.
It is.
That is, I don't have an answer, so bleh. That works. I'll catch you on the second draft.
I'll catch you on the second draft.
I'm so baffled. This book baffles me. I have so many questions. Also, how tiny is this forest that everyone just runs into everybody constantly?
Literally so often, and they talk about how vast the lands are and how many hard days rides it would take to get through it, but like they're all running into each other all the time.
Yeah, at the creek, in the forest, whatever. Merida literally sees Fergus hiding in the forest and goes up and surprises him. And then Eleanor just shows up at a perfect time. We were supposed to meet for fires starting here? We were supposed to meet right here? How big is this forest? She runs into them. She runs into other soldiers and clans. And I don't think it's ever explained who the purple ones are.
Yeah.
Which clan gathering is the purple ones? Are they the Marauders mentioned later?
No idea.
No clue. I have no clue what's going on. Who are you people? No one knows. It just feels so disjointed. And the book that was being set up in the first half isn't the book being set up in the second half.
Yes.
We have talked about so many dropped subplots, and that is not even all of them.
Nope, at all.
And all the planning is off screen.
Yep, which is ironic because they keep talking about how much Eleanor loves to plan. Oh, she's such a great planner. If Eleanor was here, the only thing she plans is that one trip into this town.
Into the town to be nuns, and it's a bad plan.
No. The one with her and Fergus where they go to check out the printer.
Oh, okay. That one too.
Yeah.
That one, there was when they were like, we make a good team because they go in there and she comes up with the questions and he's able to ask the questions because sexism. But yeah, that's the only real plan she has other than running away, which also is a terrible plan. I'm just gonna go into the lowlands where they're educated and they go to Rome and they'll totally just accept this random woman, totally fine. All she really needs to know is how to set a fire and catch food. That is the only issue she'll possibly have.
Yep, but that's not how that works.
That's not at all how that works. Oh well. She's so good a planner. I will give her this. Okay, so this tale of two expressions. One's a facial expression, one's a physical expression. I like how she handled pacing between Merida and Eleanor. It happens a lot, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
I think it's done really well to show that's how they think because they have to move around and they have to do a lot of thinking in this book.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, they both do it. It's amazing.
Again, I liked Eleanor.
But can we do literally anything beside looking down our nose at people? The royal family, that is literally all they do. They all get such in-depth nose descriptions.
Granted, if I think back to the animation of the film, they all had very distinct noses.
They did.
I always loved Merida's nose. She's a little button nose and it's so cute.
Oh yeah, it matches her mom's. Yeah. It was so funny to me. She loves to describe what people's noses are doing specifically.
Yeah, the crinkling of the nose.
Not the crinkling. That was Mari. This one is specifically looking down our noses at people, even if you're short, which is very Scottish of you. But yeah, there are so many things that are brought up that are just dropped that you probably wouldn't even notice were dropped, like the Vikings. I forgot about the Vikings. I literally forgot about the Vikings because it's brought up. It's a big deal in the book. That's one of my father's favorite stories beside how they met and fighting Mordu.
Is how he defeated the Vikings.
Is how he defeated the Vikings and he joined the clans together and that's how he became king. Nope, that's not important.
Nope.
Her bear temper isn't important. Her turning into a bear isn't even important. She grows fangs.
Yes.
Before going to see the queen. And no comment on the fact that she now has fangs?
Yeah.
They make so many comments about body hair, but she has literal fangs that she did not have earlier that day.
Yeah, and I think the one time they do all notice, they're like, you're hairier than a man. That's crazy. And then they just move on. She's so worried about keeping herself covered and the hair covered.
It's something I ate.
Yeah. Oh, it's a rash. No. We got too many other problems going on, apparently.
And so crazy. Oh, and then other inconsistencies like, I raced back on Angus, didn't even give him time to rest. I have to go and tell Eleanor. Anyway, I'll spend a couple hours in the scullery.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh, the scullery.
Literally raced back on Angus, gave him a mountain of hay because he did such a good job, and she caused him to put so much effort in running back because she had to tell Eleanor immediately. Anyway, let me go to the scullery so I can get caught by Aileen.
Yeah, which we also spent an entire chapter talking about how you have to take care of your horse and give them time to rest and that you shouldn't run them that hard.
But she had to. She had to talk to Eleanor. I can put in my couple hours in the school. I can't. I cannot. The book does not even know what's happening paragraph by paragraph. That's what I mean by a pantser. This is what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair.
Disjointed, moment by moment. No idea what's going on. No idea what the overarching plot is. So we're going to divide our attention among 6 different plots, but none of them are going to be the main ones. And by the time we reach the end, there's so many things to wrap up, we just drop all of them. Oh, it's solved. It's figured out. We're good. The only time I was ever like, oh, that's interesting way to take it is when she goes to see Freya. She eats the cake. It doesn't work because she hasn't mended the rift with her mother. So she goes back. She's growing a snout.
A literal snout.
She has full fangs, like bare teeth. And no one says crap.
Nope.
I'm so glad we talked about the bear transformation for so long and about Mor'du and about the Vikings and about everything else.
There was a minute where I thought that Merida was going to become Mor'du, and that was going to be the thing of like, oh, the ancient legend about Mor'du is actually Merida, right? There was a whole point in time where I thought that was what was going on. Nope, very wrong.
That would have been fascinating. You can't have that.
Right? That would have been neat.
I do like the concept of she took her father's place with this spell. But like I said, what the crap was going to happen to Eleanor? Was she going to go back in time herself? What would have happened with Eleanor? Oh, you can't go back in the past.
Well, like I said, I think the witch explains that the reason she went back in time was because...
Unintended consequence.
Unintended consequence of her using it, yeah.
Just casual. I mean, every witch knows the magical turn a bear woman into a bear, but if she doesn't turn into a bear, you get 10 back in time to take the place of your father to solve them getting married, but also you're turning into a bear now.
Classic, right?
Why? Thematically. For the plot, why? Why is Merida turning into a bear?
Yeah.
It never pays off. Oh, it's supposed to make it so if she doesn't get to the solstice, her life will change forever. Her life's going to change forever anyway. She's not going to exist. Back to the future this.
Yes, that's all the pressure we need. Exactly.
Why is she turning into a bear? She's able to still have 100% accuracy with a bow and arrow with claw hands.
Yeah, we didn't need that pressure.
We didn't need the pressure. It never comes up. She never fumbles because of it. She never gets more than a passing glance because of it. Her temper doesn't come up. I was thoroughly expecting her to attack someone.
Yeah.
Or yell at someone. You know, the girl that is selfish and unable to control her temper and impulsive. But no, she's so able to handle her emotions and to keep bear instincts at bay.
In check, yeah.
Why is she turning into a bear? Because it's brave. We gotta do the thing.
Yeah, you gotta become a bear.
We have to have a bear. It's brave.
No.
Did Disney do this? Did you write a plot and Disney was like,
Yeah. And the more and more books we read, the more it feels like that's what happened is someone else came up with the tagline. They didn't say, hey, we've got this series. We need you to write a twisted tale. We need you to write a turn on the story. Someone in marketing or someone in product development or whatever came up with the story with the tagline and says, make it work.
See, this one especially just feels so disjointed. And I always want to give the author the benefit of the doubt when it comes to Disney because Disney can be a nightmare. nightmare to work with for any creative. So I never want to put it on the author, but what happened? For this book especially, I am just fascinated with what that NDA is going to keep us from learning.
What are you hiding?
What? How did this go from here's a marketing concept for our IP, write a story, to her outline, to her first draft, to her however many drafts they allow you? We're starting to get a little peek inside because for the Lilo and Stitch one, which is coming out fall next year, she announced that she was writing it in 2024. So writing, I don't know where in the writing process she was, but that's like 2 years. However many drafts we're writing ahead of time. What happened? Who said what? How did this come to be? And how does it have so many good reviews?
Yep.
On Goodreads.
Yeah, based on those reviews, people love it.
Love it. They love it. And I can't.
What it could have been is just not worth the rating. Because the bones for it are there. It really is there. And I think if Farrah, if she was able to write the romance book that we know she can write, again, it's Back to the Future / Parent Trap, right? That's what this book needed to be. Bare bones, Back to the Future Parent Trap. We got to get our parents to fall in love, right? But also not erasing ourselves in the future.
Yeah, it is cliched in the, we have workshopped this, people like it, there's a formula. Either you do the formula or you go really different.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I am so confused, flummoxed, flabbergasted.
Like you said, confused. That's the nicest way we can say it.
The amount of dropped subplots, the amount of cheap, and they are cheap, cliffhangers to keep you interested in the book. We were struggling, both of us, with this book. And you're like, oh, it's just the season of life I'm in. And I'm like, no, it's the book.
Yeah.
It's boring for a very long time.
I was having such a hard time staying engaged in it.
And then I messaged you and I was like, you just need to make it past chapter 26.
Yeah, because again, there was the briefest of glimmers.
It was so good. Fergus and her meeting, it's so good.
Yeah.
But it was from freaking Merida's perspective, and Merida kept thinking and interjecting into the scene, and it was awful. Every single time something cute would happen, I would be drawn out because Merida could not shut up. And then their romance scenes were forever and ever in Merida's perspective. But then finally, we get an Eleanor's chapter with Fergus, and it's so good.
Yes.
And then you have the scene where they're at the dinner table and Lachlan is straight up like, hey, what lute music do you like, Eleanor? And she's like, oh, I like music from the South. And he's like, I'm not going to allow that in my household. You're like, oh my goodness, this is drama. This is crazy. And then the mom being like, oh, you know, it's my people. That's how she learned it. That's why she loves it so much. And him going, oh, well, then that's different. But Eleanor knowing that that's not different, there's your stakes.
Yep.
Your stakes is right there, sitting in that chair, trying to literally control her life. And her fate is tied up in this. There's your stakes. I don't understand. Okay, we have the king plot to keep Eleanor and Fergus on the same side so she doesn't just run off. But then we spend so much time in the freaking scullery.
Yes.
Instead of solving any plots, instead of doing anything. Fergus and Eleanor aren't hanging out. What is the point of any of this? How many times does Merida say, well, at home, I don't really pay attention to the politics of the castle?
Yep.
Well, you better. I just wanted it to be good.
Yeah, I know. I had such high hopes. And then she just kept stringing us along. And there were moments.
There were glimpses.
Little glimmers. And here's where I'm at now. Actually, I'm just getting more mad at Disney because you can tell these authors are good. Just let them write the books they want.
Yeah.
Stop censoring them because there is no way these people are writing these books voluntarily like this. You are censoring them somehow. We need a Taylor Swift version. Can we get a Taylor Swift version of all these books? Can the authors please go back and rewrite them the way they wanted to and then release them? Because I will read them again to see what your actual perspective was.
General thoughts. Because, like I said, I don't want to put any of this on the author because you can see it. There are glimmers. So I always blame the timeline. I always think the timeline is ridiculous, which it is. how fast they expect authors to churn out acceptable product
Yep.
to be sold forever and ever, amen, because they don't get Taylor Swift version where they can go back and, oh, there's a typo and it says forehand. That lives forever now.
It does.
And like I said, you see it. It's so good for about 4 chapters. It's so good. The drama. She's so good at the drama. Lachlan is somehow such a good villain.
Yes.
And we see so little of him. You know she can do it.
Yes, she can. She 100% can, so it just makes me mad.
It makes me want to read one of her real books.
Yes, one of her romance novels. Maybe I should add that to my Libby list.
Pick up the Boyfriend Project or something, because she is so good at those parts.
Yes, it was the best part of the writing.
And so you type her into Google and it literally says romance author. And so we just go back to why this book?
Why did she get this one? Yep.
Why did we get Merida? I mean, I'm always going to throw my hat in the ring for Elizabeth Lim, but why not Elizabeth Lim? Why not Mari? Why not Jen? Why not Liz? Why not another author? I'm glad she's getting worked. She came out with Bemused this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that one too.
Which we're very excited to see. I love the Muses. They're great. But why this book?
Yeah.
I think it would have been really cool to learn that, I don't know, she has a secret love for it. She has whatever connection she has to this. Because like I said, you can tell she's done her history and she understands the culture in a way that she can write it simplified, obviously, for young adults. Or did Disney just say, hey,
it's your turn.
We need an author. Do you want a paycheck?
Which may have been more likely the case.
We were much closer to feeling it and almost there, even though we were baffled by the fact there was no romance in the book, even though she's a romance writer. But I don't know. It's not like with Liz where I'm like, 50-50, you know? I still want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but I really do want to read one of her books and be like, okay, how would you have done it? If you had more control than you do, obviously, with a Disney project, how would you do it?
Exactly.
What's your style? Because I'm curious if those reviews are reviewing because they love Brave, the IP, or if they're just a huge fan of this author. How did you guys find this Twisted Tales?
Yeah. And that's my thing. She has such a strong romance base. No one who has read her romance novels could possibly think that this probably holds up to the same standards as her other ones.
I would be very shocked if it did. One question for the author. Yeah, that is kind of my question. Why?
Why?
I would be curious in her research when she is researching all this stuff, how much of her source material came from Disney, came from the Brave crew, came from the people that wrote the fantasy lore, but also modeled it off real life, and how much she had to go research. Were they like, here's all our notes, this is what we did, like we did a crap ton of research, here you go, you can use this, and then she would Google something every once in a while? Or were they like, make it happen, and then she was left to her own devices?
I do feel like she's someone who does put in the effort, so.
Yeah, so I could see it both ways.
Yeah, I really could too.
But I would just be curious how much Disney pulls their own weight in that regard. Because you know they had to do research for it.
Yeah, and Disney started doing more and more research with films that have come out to do it. So, yeah, did she have a meeting with them of like, okay, I need some Scottish names, I need some locations, I need some knowledge?
Did Disney be like, here's the Dropbox, here's the Manila folder?
Yeah.
I mean, that would probably be like an accordion folder, honestly. But here's the paperwork, here's the Dropbox, here's the Google Drive, here's whatever to get you this files. Or were they like, here's the basics, and she had to figure it out on her own?
Valid question. I think my question would be, given that she's a romance writer, who is her favorite Disney romance? And I would follow that up with, who is her favorite non-main character? Because when I think of very rarely do we have parents that are still alive, but also very rarely do we have parents that are still alive and still in love in Disney. And that's one thing, even in the original, in Brave, that Eleanor and Fergus's relationships is flawless. Like the scene where it's doing showing the cuts to contrast Merida and her mom's perspectives, but Eleanor is sitting there talking to Fergus, processing through these issues that she's having with her daughter and the concern that she has. And he's just sitting there listening, helping her role play, helping her process.
Best scene.
Such a good scene, not just because it's contrasting the mom and daughter's perspective, but showing what their dynamic is like as a husband and wife. So, and because obviously the tension and the scenes between Eleanor and Fergus are the best parts of the book, I would wonder if maybe that is why, as a romance writer, she picked this, is because are these her favorite non-main character love stories? Because it is a pretty good one. They are a fantastic couple. Their marriage goals.
Yeah, if I was going to say her passion is anywhere, it is in their love story. It feels the most thought through. It felt fun. You can just tell she enjoyed it. And that's not how I feel about Merida, who is the main character.
Yes, which is unfortunate. And it sucks because in the movie, she is a breath of fresh air. She is bold and she is the woman who doesn't want to be married and she wants to buck tradition. All of that we need, right? But in this one, she just comes across as whiny.
Yeah.
That's not a great example. And I get what they were trying to do because, again, the author had to spell it out. I've learned that while, yes, my wants and needs or desires are important, I do have to recognize who I am and what my responsibility is, which is to take care of the kingdom. And I learned that through watching you, Mom, that you can balance those things.
It's Ariel, but if she stayed to be a mermaid to take over the kingdom in a lot of ways.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're right.
So instead of running off, falling in love, she realizes, no, my place is in the castle. And one day I'll marry.
Yeah, I recognize that it's something I've got to do.
But I want to marry for love, and I want to be able to hold my place. And that's the epilogue, which is not an epilogue.
Yeah.
Is her going, I want to take over my royal duties, but I don't want to get married until I marry for love. Then I will get married.
Yep.
And I will continue that tradition, but I don't want to just be cast off to somebody, which, by the way, something she's done makes it so her parents are more involved in their lives.
Well, they didn't die because Merida's intervention saved the king. So when she travels back forward in time, her grandparents are still alive.
Yeah.
So I did love that twist and that impact.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're going to do it, you have to have a little bit of things change.
Yeah.
But I was curious because I made it sound like the grandmother was still alive. Maybe not the king, but she was. I don't know. That's another thing. It's like, I don't know. There's a moment where you come to find out in this future, she got upset because she wasn't allowed to compete in archery. The fact that anyone shooting for Merida's hand is not a factor in this world. It's literally just she wanted to compete to make the Denbrocks look good.
Yeah.
But she wasn't allowed to because she was a girl, and then they rewrite the rules so she's able to do the thing. And once again, it does this stupid time thing of, oh, grab your bow and arrow and go compete right now. And she's like, cool, but I need to travel all the way into the forest for several hours to thank Freya before I come back.
Yep.
It's on. It's happening. It's right now. She wants you to go out there, grab your bow, and go compete. I'm going to spend hours traveling in the forest right now. What is this timeline?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rating. You don't know your clan out of 10. This is going to make sense to a very select amount of people. Fun fact, my husband got a DNA test and found out he has a very, very high percentage of Scottish in him.
Not surprising at all, by the way.
I'm Scottish-Irish because of McTavish. Grew up in it. I have pictures of me and the tartan. I had a little bear that wore tartan and stuff. We went to the Scottish festival every year. That gingerbread is out of this world. Watch the people compete.
Yeah.
There was a booth for the McTavish, and we would go hang out there, and then afterward, we would go eat dinner with our clan and stuff.
That's amazing.
I have such a strong memory of that being the first time I ever had pumpkin pie was at one of those dinners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just such a sense of community because so many Irish, so many Scottish came over to America, not for lack of love of country, but because of necessity. Like you think of the Irish potato famine.
Yeah.
As a huge one. And so we still have such a strong sense of culture and community and stuff that these things happen. They have these Scottish games. And so it is such a very unique experience. But the problem was my husband didn't know he was Scottish, and so he had no idea who his clan was.
Oh.
And I wanted to take him to Scottish Games, but he was like, I feel weird going and not knowing who my clan is, which, by the way, just go to a Scottish festival. It's a good time. There's artisans, there's people that bake. The games are really fun to watch. We'll accept you. It's fine. You don't have to. But he had that weird feeling. And so I did a crap ton of ancestry stuff. Through that, we were able to find who his clan was. And so just that feeling for him of having that is pretty cool. And since we found out that we haven't been able to go to a Scottish festival, but I think it's going to be a really fun time when we go. He's very introverted, so he probably will just be like,
bye.
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah.
But having that sense of community is really something special. And I feel like that's kind of what's missing in this book, is that magic of people coming together. So I do think there's something missing in that, where it's, you're at a Scottish festival, you're enjoying it, like the pieces are there, but it's just the pieces. They don't all come together. There's no point where you have that magical moment where things come together and you're a part of it and you're so immersed in it that you're there with these characters and you form this parasocial bond with them. Is it even parasocial when it's a fictional character?
No.
But whatever bond you have with these characters, and I don't think we're there. Like, I bonded so heavily with Merida from Brave.
Yeah.
From the movie, and I just did not feel that in this book.
No, not at all. I agree. I think my rating would be when the hair has more character than the main character does.
When the hair is the personality?
Yes.
Parts of it had very strong personality.
Yep.
Let's just do what we do with the boy characters, where we make all the books, oh my goodness, what would happen if the girl did it? And just have it be about the mom. Let's just have a book about the mom. She's a great character.
Yes.
Disney would never allow it, but...
No, they wouldn't. Everything about their IP runs on the moms being gone.
If we had parents, why would our children need to go on adventures? Read again? No.
Unfortunately not.
It has encouraged me to want to read her own work. Does that count for something?
Yes.
But in a way that it's so bad where I want to be, this isn't real.
Yeah, I agree.
This isn't you. Please prove to me this isn't you. Please just be like, this is Disney. This is Disney's fault. The amount we just want to like these authors, I swear.
We really, really do.
Always. I always just want to sit down and read a good book. I swear, we're not just sitting down because we're contrarians that hate things. I was so excited. Oh well. Favorite of the series so far?
I think on this one, a little bit different. I think I'm going back to Cinderella, because you made a comment a long time ago. It's like, if it's lacking in romance, we want Cinderella. If it's lacking in a strong female hero, we want Mulan.
Or adventure.
Plot twist, it's both this time, but I want more romance, so therefore Cinderella.
See, I'm of the Mulan, because we did get, granted, not enough, but we did get romance.
Yeah.
And in my mind, though, part of Brave is the adventure, is fighting off Mor'du, is learning about the ancient history of all of it, and none of that's in this. So I am saying there needs to be more action, and thus I will pick Mulan as my favorite currently.
That's fair.
But have you read this book? Who is your favorite Disney couple that aren't the main characters? Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Fate Be Changed with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Prince Caspian by C.S. Lewis. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Kaitlyn.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skull production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.